저희는 비록 아마추어 팀이지만 선발전에서 한 번도 지지 않았기 때문에 세계대회 처음이지만 최강의 팀워크를 보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
너네가 지금 아직 안 지고 이기고 있는 거는 아직 우리를 만나지 못해서 그런 것 같고, 내가 전 한국 대표로서 한마디 해주면은 우리를 만나러 오는 것보다는 그냥 집에서 편하게 잠이나 자는 게 더 나을 것 같아.
작년에 한국팀이 태국팀을 꺾고 우승한 것처럼 저희도 좋은 경기력으로 좋은 성과를 낼 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
AWC 디펜딩 챔피언으로서 이번에는 태국팀을 위해서 꼭 우승하도록 하겠습니다.
그치.
두 팀 모두 최선을 다해서 최고의 경기를 보여주면 좋겠습니다.
AWC 我们已经期待很久了，训练和心态都已经准备好了，希望这次首战告捷，最终载誉而归。
Gue pengen ngomong sama tim China, nggak akan segampang itu. Malah kalian yang bakal kalah lawan kita.
我们有国内数一数二的坦克选手 And， 不仅能砍打，还能开瑞。当我们推到你们高地的时候，你们可能连我们的一塔都还没有推到。
Kamu punya napas panjang. Kamu suka pamer ya? Aku bilang kita setara sih.
你跟一个退伍军人说肺活量，我一口气打到你高地哦。
Oh serius? Tapi aku gak akan kasih kamu kesempatan. Lihat gua.
我挡。
Chúng tôi muốn được đối đầu nhất với Đài Bắc Trung Hoa lần này. Chúng tôi đến đây với niềm tin lớn để được trả thù họ, nên chúng tôi rất khát khao đánh bại họ. Mặc dù tôi rất ngưỡng mộ Nein, nhưng tôi sẽ đánh bại anh ấy.
我喜欢你们的自信，但你们还差班尼一点。
Các bạn sai rồi. ADC và Brody cũng mạnh như Nein và Benny vậy. Tôi chắc chắn rằng ADC và Brody sẽ là cặp đôi rừng và trợ thủ mạnh nhất thế giới.
你们野府联动都打不赢我一个爱丽丝。
Đơn giản thôi. Tôi chỉ muốn nói rằng mục tiêu của chúng tôi là chức vô địch.
那我也定个小目标，先干掉越南，再干掉泰国，最后再干掉韩国。
同意。
아니야. 개설. 베니가 우리 이기기 쉽대. 우리가 정글 어떻게 할지 가르쳐주자.
既然你们拉下我了，你们的延续小心被我养住吧。
Kamu bercanda. Kami bisa membakar daging di hutanmu ketika support dan jungle kami memimpin.
Mang cho tôi cái nỏ nướng, nên anh muốn bị chiên hay bị nướng?
我个人比较喜欢串烧，一串五半呆了。
여기 정글러분들 너무 잘하시네요. 저는 연습하러 가겠습니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Arena of Valor World Cup 2019. It's day number 4, the final day of groups. And my name's still TJ, still joined by D2 for one last time during the group stage.
I'm D4 today, TJ. Just letting you know.
Oh my god! If you get 2 more sides, then I can play D&D with you.
Aren't I already D&D because it's D2? Anyway.
You could.
So many things are actually D2.
D&D, and then D.
I didn't think it through when I came up with my name. Let me just tell you that. There's so many things that are D2. Does that stand for?
I was told.
Diamond 2? Diablo 2?
I was told there is another esports boy called D1 who also casts. So
Really?
someone got to it first. Today will be an incredible day of Arena of Valor. Not to get too far off topic, we've got Group B, the group of death, the group that we said had all of the playoff contenders in it, and this is the day where the seeding is determined. This is the day where we learn who comes out of the group to play versus the champions of Group A in the knockout stage.
And unlike Group A, it's not only the seeding that's in contention here, it's also who actually moves on to the next stage, who actually gets out of the groups and into the quarterfinals. In Group A, we had a tiny bit of suspense regarding who would actually get out when NA had to win one game against Malaysia. And for even Malaysia to be in that spot, they had to take advantage of Vietnam screwing around in their game against them. But today, there's going to be tons of suspense about who gets out of the group. And the crazy thing is, the team that I thought was the front runner to be in that 4th place spot after the top 3 of Thailand, Vietnam, and Chinese Taipei, that team was Indonesia in my mind, but Korea and China have already passed them. And not only that, but China has passed Thailand, who we thought was in the top 3 and were infallible. And I don't know what's going on anymore, TJ.
Thailand is like... So there's two sides of the seesaw, and I didn't understand this until we got into the AWC. But the number 1 Thai team, who's in this Group B, has bombed. What matches do they need to win today? They've got to win against both Korea and Chinese Taipei.
Chinese Taipei.
And that is the reigning world champions, to be clear, that they must beat in order to get out of groups here.
Right. Well, it depends on China, but assuming China does well, then yes, they have to beat Chinese Taipei. It's complicated, but China has a relatively easy match schedule, as easy as you can get.
Yeah.
in the group of death.
So we live in a world where the Thailand main team may not leave groups, and the Thailand wildcard team has just dominated Group A.
Yeah. Well, I know some people might look at that and say, oh, it's so unfair because the Thailand main team got put in the group of death, but I think
they look bad.
Reasonable to say
no, it's their fault.
Thailand wildcard have looked definitely better than the Thailand main team, and it's one of those situations where I think those were the closest. I think when we talked about TDC, the Thailand main team being one of the contenders, it was mostly based on subjectiveness. Let's be honest here, because we're like, this guy's good, they've won championships before, they just won the championship. But like how I did in the end of my rambling session yesterday, it's like their record isn't as ironclad as we thought, and meanwhile AHQ had to just battle to get here, so now that makes more sense that they're doing better. The point is, TDC's in trouble.
Yeah. Toyota Diamond Cobra, the number 1 team out of the RPL, do not look great. They need to win some tough matches today. I'll run down the schedule, and then we'll go over to some interviews that the Garena team conducted prior to today's games. We're kicking things off in a moment with Vietnam facing Korea. That's a very fun match for Team Flash and this rising Korean side. Then we'll move to Chinese Taipei, the current world champions playing China. Indonesia playing Korea. Chinese Taipei versus Thailand in a must-win match for Thailand. Vietnam versus Indonesia. Thailand versus Korea, another must-win. China versus Indonesia. And then we'll wrap things up in about 8 hours with Chinese Taipei playing Vietnam. The final 10 hours of the 40 hours of group stage. Don't go far. We'll go over to some interviews and we'll come back with game number 1 after this.
người đến từ đội Bắc Tế không được. Nhưng mà đạt được Xuân Bắc đang tới của Tuấn và trả thù thành công. Hai là sắp vào quá rồi. Hana cũng thêm một người nữa đó là Ghét và thậm chí các con tiếp tục quay trở lại chơi. Đây chắc là người thứ ba.
我们今天对上这两支队伍，就是用我们最基本的战术去赢得比赛，当中还有一些小失误，我觉得我们可以再改进，更完美的赢得这场比赛。
我觉得我今天表现不太满意，因为我觉得这场游戏可以更快结束。最大的对手是我们自己，因为我们自己只要把状态调整好，不管哪一队都不是我们的对手。你们都放马过来吧。
Kalau di saat itu soalnya kita bukan kita. Bisa dibilang akunya banyak mistake, terus kayak terlalu over PD, terlalu overextend dan musuhnya memanfaatkan itu, jadi ya mungkin gara terus kitanya agak blunder, ya begitulah, jadi kita kalah. Ya nggak expect mereka bakal kuat banget dan kita kurang persiapan untuk melawan mereka. Ya semoga aja aku berharap untuk kedepannya kita bisa menang untuk lawan mereka saat melawan mereka.
저는 저한테 8점을 주고 싶습니다. 왜냐하면 아처지키기에 성공해서 한 세트에 좋은 성적을 거뒀기 때문에 저는 그 8점에 만족하고요. 2점은 아쉬운 점은 두 번째 세트 때 살짝 아쉬운 결과가 나와서 그것을 보완하면 10점을 주도록 하겠습니다. 오늘은 아네트만 써가지고 저의 트레이드 마크인 그렉을 못 보여주었기 때문에 다음 상대에는 제 트레이드 마크인 그렉을 보여서 꼭 승리를 이루도록 하겠습니다.
ก็ทำตามแผนที่วางกันมาอย่างดีนะครับ แล้วก็เขาก็มีข้อผิดพลาดของทีมเขามาทำให้เราใช้ข้อผิดพลาดของเขาทำให้เรากลับมาชนะได้
ครับก็จริงๆก็ชื่นชอบทุกๆทีมครับผมแต่ว่าที่ชื่นชอบเป็นพิเศษเลยก็คือทีมเวียดนามครับผมเพราะว่าทีมเขาแข็งแกร่งมากๆครับก็ทำไมถึงชื่นชอบทีมเวียดนามนะครับก็คือทีมเขาเป๊ะมากๆเขาเอาข้อผิดพลาดจากทีมเรานะครับผมทำให้เอาข้อผิดพลาดนั้นกลับไปทำให้ทีมเขาชนะครับ
ก็ไม่ต้องห่วงนะบอกเพื่อนร่วมทีมว่าไม่ต้องห่วงเพราะว่าถ้าเรากลับมาคืนฟอร์มเราสามารถเข้ารอบแน่นอนเข้ารอบได้ก็สามารถสู้ทุกทีมได้แน่นอน
Trong trận đấu với cả Trung Quốc thì cả hai trận của em đều Big Superman. Thứ nhất là đây là con tướng rất là thuận tay với con gấu. Thứ hai là để khắc chế đội hình có nhiều xạ thủ của đối phương khi có Kali, Lindit và Elsu. Cho nên là con bài Superman này khá là hiệu quả và đã giúp bọn em giành chiến thắng cả hai game. Thì trong trận thắng Trung Quốc ngày hôm nay, lúc cuối trận em có thể một động tác ăn mừng thì đấy cũng chỉ là vui thôi, nhưng mà em nghĩ cái động tác đó không phải ai cũng làm được, cho nên là em muốn nhân đấy để gửi tới đối thủ của mình, chỉ có người đặc biệt mới có thể làm được những động tác đó.
Khi em được đánh trên sân nhà, em cảm thấy rất là tự tin vì được mọi người cổ vũ và động viên cho em, và em sẽ lấy đó để làm động lực để em cố gắng hết mình. Em muốn cảm ơn tất cả mọi người đã luôn ủng hộ và theo dõi cùng team của em, và em sẽ cố gắng hết mình, sẽ không bao giờ làm cho mọi người phải thất vọng.
因为我们在慢慢摸索适合自己团队的打法和阵容，所以我们在战绩上会有些许波动，但我相信我们会变得越来越强的。因为战况太激烈了，我们都不知道他4杀了，所以失手抢他的5杀。兄弟，抱歉，如果下次我4杀的时候不要抢我的5杀哦。
I couldn't have timed it better. We're right in the game. Korea facing Vietnam in the first match of the AWC group stage, day 4. My name's still TJ, still with D2, and still we have a packed day of games ahead of us. Let's direct our attention, though, to the match that is burning on your monitor right now. Daniel, Vietnam, Korea, tell me about it.
So, Vietnam had a very impressive first day. They completely outclassed Thailand, which is impressive in and of itself, even if Thailand did mess up versus China. Korea, we know a little bit less about. They did basically get destroyed by Chinese Taipei, who were seemingly just trying to set the record for the least mistakes possible in the game. And then Korea, they showed us something by beating China. And now China, China's been okay, but the fact that Korea was able to get a game off them shows something. What I'm trying to get to here is we're not really sure where Korea stands, whereas Vietnam has been extremely impressive. So this match is more about Korea showing us where they are. And if they can steal a game here, that goes a long way towards potentially sneaking into that 4th spot.
So, Korea are an underdog. Their win-loss record makes that abundantly clear. Do you see a world in which they come out on top of this match?
I don't see any crazy things like a 2-0. This Vietnamese main team, this Flash team, is not box gaming. They're not prone
They don't
to
fool round.
weird. Yeah, they're not the same team as box gaming. They're definitely a professional team. They can play multiple playstyles. They're kind of like the more mature professional version of box gaming because they're just so good at team fighting, and they can play multiple styles. They can play heavy melee. They can play with the backline, heavy damage coming from there. They can do multiple things on the battlefield. They're extremely polished and they're extremely scary to go against. I do not see I don't see Korea getting a 2-0. They might be able to steal one game if they're lucky.
Here is the pink ban. Bans, of course, will be Safra Darcy, followed by Richter, Hayata, Yina, Baldum, Elsu. First 3 for Vietnam. Korea go Teamy, Tulin, Superman. So I'm interested in the fact that Darcy's getting banned because I've been advocating for that from day one. The result of that shift in bans means that Elsu is now getting out of pick ban rather consistently. Vietnam get him in this cycle, though, because Korea prioritize Teamy Tulin over the Elsu Baldum.
So you'll be happy with that, right? And especially because coming from what we consider to be the superior team, it's like, oh yeah, the good teams, they know. I heavily disagree with picking Tulin here, unless it's just a stylistic thing where they really want to have Tulin and they feel comfortable playing Tulin. But I think, like you mentioned, probably should have gone for more impact hero. I think Tulin can be not shut down but nullified. And if you're using if you're using one of your first picks on a hero that can be nullified, then I feel like that's a bit of a wasted first pick.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Tulin over Elsu here, but Elsu is also such a specialist character. It may just be that Korea don't have anyone who loves him. And maybe they're confident in their ability to draft a counter. Those counters that they've drafted so far, you could kind of put the Superman in that class. You could also definitely put the Nacroth in that class. Look for Vietnam to try and set up to keep that Nacroth away from their backline. With Teamy already in Korea's bag, their best counters are going to be things like Zenial, who can stand in the front line, take the hits, and intercept the dive.
Yeah, as this draft has gone a little bit longer, I'm starting to like Korea's draft a little bit more. Tulin, expending an early pick on Tulin is not the greatest, but if you're going to pair him with Superman and Nacross, suddenly your draft looks pretty good. Now you have heavy dive, you can put heavy pressure on them. And I think this is the best way for Korea to steal a game against Vietnam, is to just really blitz them early, get them off guard, and try to snowball the game as hard as you can. Because the hardest thing to do against a very experienced team is to hold out until the late game and try to steal it that way. I think that, looking at what China did, that's not really realistic. So I think the best way to steal a game is just hit them hard, hit them fast, and try to get a snowball victory before they can bounce back.
It should be noted, I think the one win Korea have came from Yang Yi playing that Superman.
Yeah.
I remember that Superman, so definitely worth noting. Here's the counters to that dive from the Nacroth. The Rourke will come through. Rourke considered very good against things like Nacroth, like Kriknak, because he is a fly swatter. Somebody comes close with low HP, he can stun them up and blow them up.
Yeah, Rourke, one of the best burst heroes in the game, especially at melee range. And if he uses his first ability, gets in there, he can literally get Nacroth to about 60% health just at level 4 we're talking about. We're not talking about even really beefed up Rourke. We're talking about right at the beginning of the game. So that can really mess with your early game if you're in Nacroth trying to take that Rourke fight. One thing you can do if you're a very talented Nacroth is just bob in and out and try to bait out the determination, and that really weakens what Rourke can do in a particular team fight. This
How do you
Magonga's
feel
taking
about
down.
this?
Okay,
How do you
I was
feel
gonna
about
say,
this
the Magonga is taking down
Maganga
to,
hover?
like,
Is that okay? It's not happening.
Yeah. I was like, well, I wasn't even going to talk about it, but then it kept getting lower and lower.
Yeah, I wasn't. That was exactly my mindset. I was looking at it. I was like, all right, that's a hover. Let's not address it yet. And then it got to like sub 10 seconds, and I was like, all right. So Tulin will go mid, Varus up to the top lane. That looks to
Not
be
necessarily. We've seen Varus go mid and Tulin to the side just to accommodate.
Korea play a traditional mage. Korea are going to want to put Nagni on a mage, I think, from what I've seen so far.
Well, they've done that before. Teams had put the hero or the player who plays the mid hero on the mage, but stuck him in a different lane. That's happened before.
Oh God, I can't handle this AWC. The whole meta from like Valor series to AWC shifted pretty significantly. And I thought
it started at Valor series, so there is that.
I was thinking in my head that AWC would be like this year's AWC. The Western regions kind of had already figured out how to play AOV, and then I start watching these Asian games, and they're running their supports as mid, and sometimes they just don't run marksmen or mages, and
I think more so than where the heroes are. Okay, the reason why you put a hero mid is so that they can have a greater impact on the skirmishes that happen throughout the game, right? Because if you're in mid, you're just by default going to be in more skirmishes. And so I think instead of saying like, where is this hero going to play, we should probably talk about more the matchups and who they should be going against and how much they should be farming. Obviously that determines where they go on the map, but like we saw yesterday when you were talking about Thailand wildcard versus, what was it, Chinese Taipei, I believe, something like that, when we had NT on the Yorn, and it was like, well, if Yorn goes against, Tel, it's a wash. My definition of wash, where it's like kind of even. And if we have, I think it was like Sephra versus Malok, then it's okay. Malok can kind of hold out, but then they switched it, which allowed for Yorn to really go ahead and shine in the match. And so I think we need to talk about these matchups. And, it really depends on which mages are going against each other. If it's going to be Raz versus Tulin, then I think it's a pretty even matchup at the start. Or Tulin barely wins it, but then it starts evening up later in the game.
One thing to keep an eye on, of course, is this support matchup as well. Teamy Baldum is something we've seen a ton of this AWC. And I've actually kind of changed my mind. I came into the tournament and throughout most of yesterday believing that Baldum was far and away the best support in the game, and some good teamies may have changed my mind.
Oh, well, welcome to Teamy. That's all I gotta say. Go to d2av.com/hero tier list. I have Teamy and Baldum at the
It only took till day 4 for you to plug your website link directly.
Yeah, I kind of hinted at it, but yeah, so Teamy and Baldum in my estimation are definitely the two top supports. Some people would disagree and say Sephra, but I really like those two.
Here is Vietnam playing double in the bot line. That's going to be the Yina staying down there eventually. Korea opting to cluster the vast majority of their players over towards the mid line. Pig, Nagni.
Interesting that Vietnam has decided to put Elsu kind of hovering in the top lane.
They had him mid to start, and then when they saw the Tulin, I think they just decided that was a bad matchup. And I agree.
What they probably thought that Korea was going to put Varus mid. I think that's what they thought, and they're like, oh, you just have Tulin mid. Okay, we're going to put him top then. I think that's what they thought.
Where is that Varus, by the way? Kind of roaming.
Yeah, it's like the second support. Oh.
I think... Pig in trouble, scooped in by the wild charge. First blood to Vietnam. Korea need to get out of here, and they'll lose a second player as well, as ADC finds 2 at close range.
Very well done by Vietnam. This is why they're so scary. They just look for opportunities wherever they can, and once they find them, it's lights out.
This is classic Team Flash, and I'm happy to see it. This has been a good AWC as well for Rourke mains. We've seen him come out many times in the face of the lightweight, high-mobility jungle assassin, because he's so good at shutting that down.
Yeah, and I love when teams pick Rourke at the right time and really exploit what he's capable of doing. Because he's not good all the time, but when he does, he can absolutely dominate a game.
He's a matchup character. Comboed with a Boldum, it's real hard to get past him. Here's the Abyssal Dragon, first of the game over to Vietnam. I don't think there's a way Korea can step in. They don't even have vision when ADC bursts it down. Pig may be in trouble towards mid. Snipes still raining in from across the map.
I'm looking at this Vietnam side, and I'm wondering how Korea is going to crack it. Because this is a tough egg to crack, TJ. Like, there's just no weaknesses on it. There's no one who can really take advantage of. Because if you try to get onto the Rourke, they have the poke, they have the close range damage, they have everything going for them. And I just don't really see how Korea is able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, it's a really hard matchup for them to do well in.
Did your sound just like go nuts?
Ooh, a little bit. Here, I'll...
Oh, you know what it is? You have it on
I'm
my
sending
ears.
my sound to you. We're good.
Okay. I love to hear your voice, TJ, not the sound. You don't need it. You don't need it, TJ.
Here's the pressure in mid. Pig in trouble, will be burned down at close range.
Do you think he purposely didn't pop being a bro? Or he just got burned down too quickly?
Well, I mean, there was no way the Resurrect would save him, right?
Yeah, true. And you're not buying time for anything, so yeah, maybe it was on purpose.
There's just no reason to spend the Resurrect because he'd die anyway, and then your ult's on cooldown.
Dagny just stole that monkey with a little passive, just walked
almost
by
accidentally.
Like, oh. He, literally passively.
Uh-oh, ADC in, there's the wild charge. Nagni barely gets out.
They still got to cut that wave, and they're not missing anything mid as long as XP can rotate over, so this is what we're talking about with these high-level teams, right? Even when it seems like they're out of position, they're perfectly fine.
You can see there the benefit of the Rourke Boldum combo. They both play so similarly.
Yeah, and Rourke kind of acts as that second frontline hero. Even though he does typically build full damage, the fact that you can turn on determination at the moment's notice, especially if you're continuing to be ahead like Vietnam is right now, you're not going to be needing health. Oh,
good wild charge. There it is. The combo we were talking about. This time it's the Raz that comes through as that secondary frontliner, showing the strength of this Vietnamese team composition as Vietnam win another skirmish in the mid lane. No kills from that one, but a whole lot of ground gained.
Exactly. Tulin has to go back. I love the way that they're just patient. Right? They go in, they get him low, they see the being in row, they're like, all right, we'll back off, that's perfectly fine. They're not going to overextend, they're not going to try to go for kills that they can't get. Really just the way that they're handling themselves is kind of, honestly, I think it's even different from what we saw at the AIC in 2018.
Yeah. Team Flash was the upset team there. Now they're one of the expected champion regions, ADC. 1v3. He's winning it! My God! It works out in his favor. Now the backup's here. Gao takes the front line with a sick little salvo. There's a flicker, wild charge, and another kill to Vietnam.
ADC is really proving why this Rourke can be so powerful, particularly in the early game and particularly when you have that lead, because they can't burn you down. Your damage outstrips theirs, which means that every time you deal damage, you get more shield, CJ. It's good. It's basically a good offense is a good defense. Or the best defense is a good offense, something like that.
A combination thereof. That was an insane play. ADC manages to win that fight because he takes it inside the brush, baiting people in and then playing from within it. Here's another kill in almost exactly the same brush. Dak Koi with the disengage forward eats the Thunderbird. No kill goes either way as he can't save or get the kill and save his ally.
Vietnam just continuing to put so much pressure on. I think their next goal here is to get this mid tower. ADC has been lacking a little bit on this jungle camp. You can see every single jungle camp up, which is not really want to have as a jungler. You want to have them coming up as you rotate around. But he has been getting kills, so it's perfectly fine.
Gao, XB, Pro E, further forward here in the mid lane. As you say, That next tower in mid will be their focus, but they're really struggling to get in. For all the kills that Korea have suffered, they're doing a real good job holding.
XP, well, Youngie had to use his speeding bullet just to get out of there. That is not a good use of ultimate. And now he's not going to have that available for a potential team fight as they come bearing down on this mid tower.
Oh, Pro-E, wild charge. Here's the Rourke, the Baldum combo. Can they get Nagi? No, and the Resurrect's there as well. Even if they had found the kill, he wouldn't have gone down. But Nagi just runs into the middle of the fight right after the kills come through. He'll go down instead of any of his allies, but that is not a good result. Now the mid tower will fall. Korea are in trouble.
Youngie with a very poor decision there. After we just saw him use his ultimate, he decided to try to come in on a fight that he was never going to win, and now Bomb pays for it as well.
Slick movement, but Gao catches him out the second he's stunned up for a moment. XP's there for a combo.
Oh my goodness, this is 2v3.
Yep, dive in, but it works! You can't say it's 2v3 when the two are ADC and Pro-E. ADC even looks for a taste underneath the tower. Now with Gao here, they'll get pick low. Wild charge, wild stomp. Another kill. Koi doing the damage. The tower's being shredded. XP's there on the flank. I'm not sure this Superman can escape. He will after a snipe doesn't quite kill him.
Oh, that has got to burn. And Youngie's like, ooh, that stings right in the behind. Barely gets out of there, but this is a move straight to the Dark Slayer. And unlike their box gaming counterparts, they know the value of this Dark Slayer.
What is this game? Well, a strong performance from Vietnam. A very good Wild Prison somehow finds Bomb. That's a Nakroth with charges in the tank, apparently. And he got him with a Wild Prison? He had dashes up. I thought he must have spent all his dashes because he got hit, but the Wild Prison ends and he starts moving again.
Well, I don't think it freezes the cooldowns, right? I think you have.
Yeah, but the cooldown time
actually helped them.
Nakroth's cooldown time is longer than I suppose it could have worked out.
Yeah, I think he used his charge and then Pro-E caught him and he's like, oh wait, never mind. Maybe I should have just gone at him with normal abilities because now he can wait on his cooldowns. It's okay though. It's just an instinct. You go for your instincts first. You think later.
Might Golem. Oh. The steal? No.
Yep.
Oh, yes! Gao gets it!
Gao with his slick hair. I can just totally tell after he got that Might Golem, he like put the
ran his fingers through his hair
back.
Yeah. Uh-oh. This could be bad. Pro-E again, these wild stomps slowing down enemies as they run away. They leave ADC to solo the backlines and get 2 easy kills. XP is here as well. That was how they got the kill in the front. Pro-E there to zone. Now they have control of 2 more towers, and they'll get that Drake through in the bottom lane in a moment. This high ground, Pro-E in, climax, are you gone? Just off the back of that, the high grounds are at the very least. Korea in their last few seconds of game, potentially. They need to hold here. 4 seconds on respawns, they will have a full 5. That's what they were waiting for, but now an engage comes through. Resurrect was active, he'll be back, but Bomb won't. Nagi and Bomb, full seconds after they respawn. ADC just slaughtering them, and now he will end the game in similar fashion. Vietnam's main team comes out on top in game 1 of day 4.
Remember when you mentioned that Rourke is basically like a fly swatter? That's exactly what it looked like when Nakroth went in. And he just, where did he go? Splat all over the ground. That was a dominant performance by Vietnam. And
Rourke may be a fly swatter, but ADC was an electric fly swatter that game. The charred corpses of the Korean side were dropping off of ADC.
Right. What do you do if you're Korea? That there's nothing to take from that other than you're just outclassed.
I think poor Korea need to rely on.
I see a lot of zeros in the death count for Vietnam.
Was that a perfect game?
Yeah.
They didn't lose
no
a
towers,
tower.
Right? No towers, no deaths.
They didn't lose an objective?
I don't think so.
And it was a perfect game, Vietnam. Congratulations, I think that's the first perfect game of the tournament. We had a few almost perfect games in Group A, but dragons or towers were taken away. Vietnam lock it in. Nicely done by them. Their 5th win.
Honestly, I don't know if it was nerves or just the fact that they were getting punked on, or maybe that they're not ridiculously competent with heroes like we've seen from the top teams. But there was one instance where I saw Bomb dashing away from ADC, and kind of like as a habit, he popped Judgment's Blade. He dropped his ultimate, and I was just perplexed. Like, you're trying to run away. You're not trying to stand there for a second and let them catch up to you. And he died. It was just perplexing to me, and not a good sign.
No, a few little mistakes like that. What I was going to say is I think Korea need to rely on their draft a little bit more, because they had a solid draft there, but I don't think that's good enough. I think they're playing versus a more experienced team. If they want to come out on top, they must win the draft phase decisively.
I think I disagree with your assessment that they had a solid draft. Like, their comp looked okay, but their comp was completely countered by the comp from Vietnam. And
do you think
that's what made Vietnam's comp so good, right? Because
the Rourke Baldwin
you know
was real good, but I don't think it was. Let me rephrase. I think Vietnam had a slightly better draft, but I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a hard counter. I think that was 60-40, not 50-50, but even enough.
What is Necroth going to do this game? There's nothing he could possibly do. That's why he had such a terrible game. Superman, similarly, like, what does he do? He jumps in on the back line, and then ADC kills him. I think what Vietnam was able to do is perfectly pair Rourke with the rest of the team, right? And sometimes if you pair Rourke with a backline that's flimsy, you can get beaten up by a team that's kind of mobile and can take out the backline, just avoids Rourke. Or maybe just a poke team. Actually, yeah, poke team would probably do best against this. But the way that Korea set up their team, there was no way they're ever going to get any kills on Vietnam, because they were focused on getting dives, and once they dive, they just dive.
Okay. So a better draft. Ooh, Vietnamese rap. So a better draft in Game 2 is your call. We'll go to a quick break. We'll be back with that Game 2. I unfortunately have to take away the Vietnamese rap, but there will be an incredible series to come. That's Korea facing off against Vietnam for a shot at redemption in Game number 2. Don't go far. It'll only be a few.
chinh chiến mãi vươn trời xa, còn nhiều thử thách con tim còn rộn rã. Unveil the new challenge, đứng lên từ những sai lầm, để ngày mai ta dẫn đầu, đỉnh cao kia ta vẫn trèo. Unveil the new challenge, dẫu bao gian khó e dần, chờ con sóng lớn vươn bay. We came here to ride the tide, let's ride the tide, rewrite the title. Let's ride the tide, we came here to ride the tide, let's ride the tide, rewrite the title. Let's ride the tide, we came here to ride the tide. Cứ thế đi đến lời mời gọi của con tim, nếu đôi khi chẳng cảm nhận nổi được niềm tin. Dòng máu chuyên binh chúng ta cứ sôi lên từng nhịp, càng nhiều địch bám đuổi cuộc chơi càng phấn khích. Ta đi lên nơi đây từ hai bàn tay trắng, khi vân châm ta xem thành bại tại kỹ năng. Ngày mai đêm mang về đây như chiến thắng, để khỏi tên ta lừng lẫy khắp liên quân. Bao nhiêu hy sinh để đổi lấy ngôi ca, bao năm chinh chiến mãi vươn trời xa, còn nhiều thử thách con tim còn rộn rã. Unveil the new challenge, đứng lên từ những sai lầm, để ngày mai ta dẫn đầu, đỉnh cao kia ta vẫn trèo. Unveil the new challenge, dẫu bao gian khó e dần, chờ con sóng lớn vươn bay. We came here to ride the tide, let's ride the tide,
And we're back. The AWC 2019 continues right now as Vietnam look to close out a clean 2-0 set over Korea. That would mark Korea's 5th loss and Vietnam's 6th win.
TJ, got a challenge for you.
Uh-huh.
Say Nyangi Nagni 5 times fast.
No.
Nyangi Nagni. Nyangi.
I knew I was missing it up live as the game, because, like, who does that to a play-by-play, okay? Like, I don't... I have cast 32 hours of Arena of Valor over the past 3 days. And you come in here with your rhyming, alliterative player names on the same team.
In mid and bot too. So it's just like they're always right next to each other.
Korea start the pick ban, removing Yina and Richter. It will be Elsu and Hayate for Vietnam. That's out. That means Darcy's through, but Korea don't first pick him, still preferring that Tulin for mid-lane Nagni.
I just don't think it's a good idea to do this because when you pick Tulin, you're putting your team in a specific direction as far as how you want to play. And Vietnam could go in any direction to counter you. So I think Korea has already shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. I just feel like Darcy has like an almost 100% win rate at the AWC.
It's only like 64 or something like that.
It's definitely higher than 64. It's
Well,
at
he lost the
least
last
in the
game yesterday.
70s. We don't
He lost the
actually
last game
know the
yesterday.
stats. There's the Tulin win rate, 54%.
Lots of picks too, 55% pick rate, 32% ban rate too.
You know why his win rate's so bad, despite the fact that Tulin's a pretty good character?
I don't know. That seems pretty normal to me. I feel like he's kind of in the mid tier.
Because I know why. Because he's always playing into Darcy. Lindis Annette will be 2 for Korea.
If he's always playing into Darcy and he has a 55% win rate, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good. Tulin's a pretty good character.
Not the first pick though, not in my opinion.
No, because Darcy exists and he should have been the first pick. Yeah. Lindis Annette will give Korea a little bit better of a jungle support duo, I think, than last game. They're going very lightweight and fast-moving. That's a solid idea if Vietnam hadn't already shown that they deal with that real well, and you hadn't just given Vietnam the chunkiest of boys in the Darcy who will burst you down.
So this is one of the first times we see Darcy and Baldom that's not countered by a Chagnar. So this could be dangerous for Korea. By the way, TJ, I feel like I should have like a warning on the screen, or you should have warning like do not try this at home. By the way,
there you go.
62% for Darcy.
Oh,
do not try Baldom and Darcy at home unless you're like a duo queue, because when you play as professionals, they have amazing synergy. When you play in solo queue, they have the worst anti-synergy ever. Because every time you land a dimensional portal, here comes Baldom throwing up the wild prison, and then nothing happens. Everything just gets screwed up. Or like Darcy will dimensional portal, and he'll put his cube onto where they're gonna come back, and then Baldom flips him, and then they miss the dimensional cube. They just have the worst synergy ever if you are not used to it. But otherwise, they have great synergy because you can flip them into Darcy's stuff. You can like have Darcy come into it and Baldom follow up. You just need to have good timing.
We just saw the pick ban stats on Darcy, and to give you credit, you were right. It was 62% on the win rate.
Yeah, lowered last night by Chinese Taipei losing to Vietnam when they picked him.
Clean your phone.
Too much cocaine on the desk.
You once again, you literally can't make that joke, Daniel. It's baby powder, chat, which professional players do use to keep their fingers conductive on the touchscreen and make sure they don't sweat and slip. Which isn't a concern I have a ton, but if I was playing for $500,000, it would change.
Yeah, you might want to apply that. I'm actually really sweaty in general, but I don't sweat from my hands.
Thanks for sharing. Superman Yabeneth will come through for Vietnam. It's going to be kind of more static end to that composition than I would have predicted. Given they already have Baldum, I'm not sure why Yabeneth comes out.
I don't know either. Feels like a weird pick. I think they're predicting what Korea's going to pick. I don't think this actually. I don't think this counters anything that Korea's picked so far. They're just predicting that Korea's going to go with a couple of melee heroes here that will get stuck by Yabeneth.
Varus? So the reason Yabeneth's not a good pick into what Korea already has is because Chunlin and Lindis don't care about Yabeneth. They just run away and land range damage. Same with the net. Varus Roxy, though, want to get up close, and the Yabeneth does have a benefit to slowing them down. I would say, though, I'm still not a giant... Oh, maybe they were doing it to counter Florentino. All right.
Every time you see Yabeneth go against Florentino, he just dies.
But
I think the
slower,
thought is like, oh, he's
slower than a lot of other characters. Because everyone in lane against Florentino just dies. And I sure prefer Chognar as he cannot lose lane quickly against a Florentino character than Scud.
Yeah, the people who advocate for Scud and / Zuka as the counters to Florentino are, I don't know, it's not the best in my opinion. Yeah.
Whereas Yabeneth, at the very least, like, he's going to lose lane against the Florentino. That's just going to happen. But if you play slow in lane into Yabeneth, it's not going to happen quickly. There's Rasp. That'll presumably go towards the mid to face off against the Chunlin, though, of course, things could swap round. A Net versus Baldum will be the support matchup. You'll probably see Yabeneth trying to match up against Florentino in the side lane, with Varus facing either the Raz in mid or the Superman in the side.
Wait a second. Okay. I was like, what? What, they're putting Superman in support? I got very confused there. They threw me for a loop. I was getting excited, but also confused at the same time.
Excited, but also confused. Most evenings. Baldum will be kind of an interesting support matchup versus a Net, because we're going to be seeing this a lot throughout the AWC. And I want to highlight it because I'm a giant fan of it. Because Baldum is, right now, a S-tier support. He does support better than all the other characters, except maybe Teamy. His aggression, his ability to isolate players is real good. His downsides are if you can chain him up, if you can keep him at range and just sustain damage him, he dies pretty easily. Not quickly, but easily. And a Net is one of the few characters that can really do that to him by keeping him in place with a wind force, with the wind cuffs, with the gust force. Even with the hurricane wall, you can just lock the Baldum away from the things he wants to do.
The wind force and the gust cuffs.
Wind Force is the name of a Net superhero team.
In case you guys are confused, we're playing with the names of her first and second abilities.
I was mixing them up. The draft is complete, Daniel. Tell me, who comes out on top?
I feel like Vietnam just wins because they're better, but I really don't like the draft.
Is it the Yabeneth that's upsetting you?
Yeah, Yabeneth. I mean, you've seen me praise Yabeneth before. Like, I feel like Yabeneth can win games
occasionally.
Like,
I've also seen you criticize the tree boy a few times.
Yeah, like 80% of the time is criticism. But the thing is, he's terrible when he has to deal with bursty assassins and long range heroes. He's really good when he has to deal with melee heroes. He's kind of like a better Aurum in that way. Keep in mind, remember, the first time I heavily criticized it, it went exactly how I thought, and he just died at every turn. So, I haven't been wrong when I criticize him usually. But this time, I'm not going to say he's going to lose. I just don't know what he's going to do.
We'll see. It's game number 2. Vietnam versus Korea.
So this matchup between Raz and Tulin in the mid lane is pretty interesting because Tulin does a really good job early on, but that sort of evaporates after a while, especially if XP can land a couple of power surges. Once he gets Boomstick, once the Raz gets Boomstick, he starts getting AoE on the wave, and that really changes the matchup. It also allows him to get a lot more damage on the opposing team without having to go through the first guy.
Proe and Gao will take the top lane.
Why does Baldum have extra damage on jungle monsters with his wild stomp? Doesn't make any sense.
Because otherwise he wouldn't do anything.
It's just so weird.
Yeah, but Wild Stomp is the Baldum ability nobody cares about. But it is the best Baldum ability.
It provides a ridiculous amount of damage resistance.
Uh-huh. If you're standing in the Wild Stomp, the Baldum doesn't notice you trying to hit him. Here it is, case in point, Climax scooped up. He tries to run. There's already a portal to shut him down. ADC, why are you level 4 at the 1 minute 30?
To be fair, Bomb is as well, but...
Yeah, but Bomb's not invading the other team's jungle.
He was 4 and already getting in there to provide the dimensional portal. I see what you're saying. Nope.
Bomb trying to steal away Spirit Sentinel. He did get it. Yeah. Nicely done.
Korea actually hold a gold lead at the moment. Vietnam. Oh no!
Flickered lightning strike. It's enough to get Nang Yi away from the dive.
Nyang-yi. Nyang-yi, not Nagni.
If those two players could stop being on the same team, I'd be real grateful to them. Nothing against their friendship, just their names. Abyssal Dragons Vietnam, that'll undo the gold lead you were talking about. It's brought within 100 gold.
TJ, I'm going to have to send the Observer a gift basket because they're not showing how Datkoi has been completely dominating Nagni in the bottom lane so far. I like how the Observer is just covering my back.
Datkoi has been holding his own as he banned against the Florentino.
No,
and I was advocating for the matchup. There's a Hurricane Wall.
Nagni actually had to go back. Nagni actually had to go back because Datkoi was dominating him.
I maintain. It's a good matchup. Oh, that portal. I'm not sure I caught anyone. Gao keeps going. He may have been the reason the portal didn't catch anything. But it's all right.
Yeah, what are you doing? I love how the anti-synergy of this team. Just all these pushes, and then it makes it impossible for ADC to land anything. Goodbye,
Gao. He's kept in. The entrapment to check the bush keeps Gao from recalling. He goes down a moment later.
I don't even know what to say about this matchup. Datkoi is just standing there. Nagni's trying to combo him. Everyone's pushing people away so that ADC can't land this dimensional portal.
Uh-huh.
I am in confusion.
So, when it works well, though, surely that's good, right? Because you have the portal and then you have everything in the universe to shove things back. It's exactly like the point you brought up about solo queue versus ranked play with Baldum Darcy, except on a grand scale, and Vietnam aren't quite pulling off the high-ranked play in these first few engagements.
Vietnam have to realize. The thing is, I think that when you play Baldum and Darcy, they've played this matchup so many times, or that combination so many times that they're used to it. It's like, you got to be careful. You got to do it properly. Oh, XP.
And Pokken portal does land. ADC's here. He says, fine, I'll do it myself.
He even portaled forward without even waiting for it to go back because he wanted the damage right away. Beautiful play from him.
There's the matchup I was advocating for. Sure, Datkoi lost, but it took him so long. The rest of the team could rotate in and get the kill. A 3v4 now, 3v2. Pig needs to back away. Bomb, Pig, both in trouble. XP just dives all the way through the tower, and they keep rotating the carousel. ADC has to TP away. That dooms his support, but they get the trades. 3 for 1.
Talk about living on the edge. Vietnam go in and kill everyone. Go out with slivers of hit points left. Pro E has to take the death for himself, but that's okay. What a play from the Vietnam squad.
What a play indeed. Vietnam looked real in sync right up until the moment they sacrificed Pro E, but real synced. Oh, speaking of, that was Portal. That was Portal Dimensional Walk plus a Rising Uppercut to burn down that kill.
Very nice. I love how ADC is not even waiting for the Dimensional Portal to go off. He's like, I'll just use it right now because I know you're standing there. It's fine.
It's working out. I mean, he's able to play so aggressive right now.
And that's just knowing the character, right? Knowing all the possibilities of what you're capable of pulling off. Instead of just doing the tried and true combo that you're used to doing, it's like, why don't I just do this? Kill him.
Tower. Below half and gone.
Yeah, Vietnam really hitting the stride right now. Like I was mentioning before, they were a little bit off in how they were using their abilities and kind of throwing ADC off. But looks like ADC is like, you know what? I'll just adjust myself. Instead of telling you guys to adjust to me, I'll just make sure that I adjust to all your knockbacks and stuff and nonsense, and I'll take care of it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think you're right. I said earlier that he was just doing it himself. I stand by that. Here he is on the flank right now while the rest of his team cleans up a fight. ADC with the portal predictively grabs the kill for himself. The dimensional walk doesn't quite grab Climax, but XB's got a double and triple in the backlines, so it doesn't even matter. Gao steals away ADC's final kill, and it's 4 kills locked in.
Hey, Gao earned that kill. Come on. But that is, yeah, 4 kills, so ridiculous. Nagni doesn't even know where to go. And by the way, before Raz started to get a little bit out of favor, this was a combination. This was a very much feared combination. The Superman Raz combo where you just get pushed back into oblivion. Combine that with now in meta Baldom. This is just ridiculous. This is a blast of the past.
I really like it. What's XB doing here? He doesn't seem quite sure either. He'll be cleaned up here by Nangi. Dakoi spends the Nature's Realm just to try and slow things down. Gao will go in, but they're failing to find these kills. Down 5v4. This should be a hard fight for Vietnam to win, but they keep going for it. Now with a Wild Prison that'll temporarily equalize the numbers, and the portal's there as well. Climax won't be pulled back because he cleanses with the Bloody Kiss. Very well done. But ADC stays around and gets yet another player incredibly low. This is over-aggression in its purest form, but it doesn't matter. He still survives, and all the while the rest of the team's working away at that tower. They'll get it now. Dakoi goes forward. He's got another Nature's Realm that sets the line of skirmish at a safe distance so the rest of his team can withdraw. Even he gets away with the Redwood Rush.
Just the unfettered aggression coming here from Vietnam is a sight to behold. Everyone going for, whether it's XB, whether it's ADC. You know, XB being in that one bush between the first and second tower brought back memories of when Vietnam showed up to the international scene at the AIC, and he was there. He was in that particular bush, and he brought it back against one of the best teams in the world. I think it was Thailand or something like that, but he single-handedly brought it back and put Flash on the international stage in that particular bush as Raz.
ADC just seems like he steps a little too far forward occasionally.
Yeah, it's too far forward or just far enough?
I mean, he died. Portal through. Nagni will keep going. This is a full Florentino dive, but I'm not sure it'll work out. Nagni in the front lines, pulled out. Thunderbird through. It doesn't matter. It's cut off. He's gone.
Are you just misremembering things because you thought he should have died? Because he didn't die.
Nagni died.
Oh, Nagni died. You said ADC, though.
XB was the guy in the flank with the bush that I was calling out.
Right, but then ADC was far forward.
I may have misspoken. It was XB who was making the arrows earlier. He did go down. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Annette can't really steal things like that. But just yeeting a wind cuffs into the Dark Slayer from over the wall. Real fun.
I think she could have taken it if she stunned out ADC. If she got like the perfect stun on him. You know who can't take it is Lumber. I've seen so many Lumbers throw Earth Splitter over that wall, and it's like, that does 0 damage. You know that, right?
But it looks real cool.
But then you lose the next fight because you don't have Earth Splitter.
XB and Datkoi will be here on the flank.
So this game is a lot closer than last game, even though it seems like Vietnam's fooling around. 4,000k gold. They do have the Dark Slayer, but they only have 3 towers down.
Uh-oh. Datkoi? You good? Yeah. He's a Yabaneth. I shouldn't have asked.
Yeah, he's fine.
With the Slayer and Abyssal buff, he'll regen in no time at all. You can see his HP shooting up right now. That was, of course, because of the proper recall, though.
I don't think he got Abyssal buff. Because you need to be... These days you need to be near the Abyssal to get the buff, if it's pre-15 minutes. Yeah.
Here's the Superman on the top flank, then we Darcy in mid, Yabaneth in the bot lane. They're all just splitting, trying to get the wave up here for now. Korea will play defense, trying to deal with it.
I love when one player can just distract the entire team like I was doing right now. Oh my goodness, ADC has so much damage. Just one-dimensional walk and Climax, who's supposed to be a tank, just chunked by 40% of his health.
Tower's gone. Drake gets another tower to his name.
Oh, Nyangi, you're dead.
That portal. He's gone.
Woo. Darcy. Oh, Darcy.
That wild prison gets one. Nagni dives in. Focus on XB, who just dashes over the wall, and now Nagni's too far forward. Gao keeps him locked down. It's still a brawl. XB has to turn back to confirm the kill. Proe, in the meantime, goes in for the dive. He's got a kill of his own. This is Korea in full retreat, and there's only one of them left. That'll be Climax. He goes in with the Venom. He can't find the kills. It's the wave. It's game number 2. It's series number 3. We're good. Vietnam. Oh, and a phone call.
Yeah. Apologies for that.
Was it Vietnam calling you to tell you that they're 6-0 in the groups?
Unfortunately, no. I would like to receive that phone call. But a good day at the office for Vietnam. They're going to do their winter celebration, which is not very rehearsed. Not as rehearsed as their gameplay. Oh. Let's be real.
Yeah. Whenever we run one of those replay reels or those interview reels, one of the Vietnamese players, and I was talking about this to Daniel prior to the game, it seems like no matter what group it is, there is a Vietnamese player at great length explaining a hand gesture they made. So look forward to that team hand raise in the next interview reel.
What does that mean? It means we won the game.
It's a sign of exuberance and jubilation and support for our fans. Here comes the handshake. A traditional hand gesture to show respect. And Vietnam didn't have a whole lot of it in-game, though they will have it out-of-game to their opponents.
That game seems so just... It seemed like Vietnam was just going through the motions, and then they got the Dark Slayer, and they're like, okay, I guess we just win now. It was very bizarre. It was just very... It was like anticlimactic.
It was slow and steady. It was one of the best teams in the world, flexing real quick. But not like a lot. They weren't trying to impress anyone. It was just what happens when they bend their arm at a certain angle.
I don't know how that happened. Just my muscles just popped out.
Yeah, I've been hitting the gym recently. I was updating the ticker just now, and I, instead of final result, almost wrote flexed on. So there you go. That's where my mind is at. Korea down 2-0 in the first game of day 4. We'll have many more to come. It's Chinese Taipei facing China in a moment. First, though, ADC gets his moment of fame as the rightly deserved MVP for that last match.
Yeah, ridiculous amount of damage. Well played by him, and even when his teammates were trying to sabotage him, he found a way around it. Beautifully done. 6-0 for Vietnam.
Nice performance by them, to say the least. Chinese Taipei versus China will be a lot of fun. We've seen Chinese Taipei demonstrate their strength. They are the reigning world champions as going by AIC results. However, China have already shown up and surprised us once during the group stage. Can they do it twice? We'll find out. Don't go far. That match in the remaining 7 afterwards. Still to come, it's day 4 of the AWC 2019.
Niels Nakroth's Judgment Blade knocked up 4 people and paved the way to victory for Team Chinese Taipei wildcard.
First blood!
Exemplary Superman push from Captain Gull left his opponent in pain.
My spirit will watch over you.
No.
Multiverse!
ADC's 1000 IQ wriggle totally turns the tide of the battle in Team Vietnam's favor. fans' outbreaking Hayate move helped Team China to reverse sweep their opponents. Han's explosive moment with Florentino.
Double kill!
we're back. Took us a moment, but they got the players out on the stage and they got the game ready to play. It will be an exciting series between Chinese Taipei and mainland China. Of course, mainland China came in from the promotional league to the secondary developmental league to the Chinese Pro League. And they came in here with us having no expectations for them. And they showed off a little bit of flexing of their own. Currently 3-3 in their record. Chinese Taipei, mad team, the current world champions based on the AIC, will be a little harder to impress, though. My name is TJ, and D2 has endured my rambling in silence for long enough, so I shall pause to allow him to speak.
I kind of like listening to you rambling, TJ. It was nice.
Thank you. I try and collate it in such a way that it makes sense. But I think I get away with stuff because people just assume that I speak confidently enough that people are like, that sentence made sense. And that if you wrote it down and read it, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense.
Actually, that reminds me of the time that I did the weekly recap of one of the Valor series things, and you wrote it. And I was like, why are TJ's words coming out of D2's mouth? What is happening?
I also benefit because I speak and write like an alien. So nobody has a baseline from which to analyze my sentence structure.
It's like, what is happening?
Yes.
This weird English, man. Like, if you're from America, like, this weird English guy, like, why do you talk like that? And then everyone from Britain, like,
no, it's like not English. It's just my own special blend of sentence grammar. And it's not good. But I've ended up with it, and I'm going to use it for better or worse on this upcoming game. We're into the draft in a moment for this game. Tell me about it. Who are you expecting to come out on top? And given that it's the current world champions, what can China do to upset that?
Okay, so let's just talk about how they got to the records. Chinese Taipei, they 4-0'd. They defeated... Who was it that they defeat? Two of the bottom teams in the group. I think it was Korea and Indonesia. China, on the other hand, they surprised 2-0'd Thailand. They were actually behind in both games. I think Thailand was actually outplaying them both games, but then they turned the games around and won team fight in both instances. One was like to their own credit because they dominated. The other one was kind of a throw by Thailand. And then they won against Korea, who we just saw lost 2-0. And then they got 2-0'd by Vietnam. So if you kind of throw out the Thailand result out the window, they're kind of just an okay team, in my estimation. Of course, that could put them in the bottom of this group since this is the group of death. But having already secured a surprise 2-0, all of a sudden they're in the mix for not even fourth, but possibly even third. So things are just kind of crazy right now. That is all to say that based on what we know and what we've seen so far, I think that Chinese Taipei being the defending world champions, China seeming like a mid-tier team, this is almost certainly going to go to Chinese Taipei, and we'll just have to see how will they play. That said, Chinese Taipei hasn't played a great team so far.
So, in a roundabout way, you're saying, yes, it will be the world champions you believe in, but we've yet to see them properly tested, so our world order may be shaken. It's unlikely, but possible.
Yeah, there you go.
China.
Thanks for summarizing.
China are a good mid-level team, from what we've seen so far. Definitely have the potential to upset someone who's dropping the ball, like the Thailand main team. We'll see if Chinese Taipei do that. They're not in the draft. First bans will be Sephora Yina, the picks, Elsu, Ohm, and Chulin, giving themselves a solid front line. China, by contrast, got rid of Hayate and Florentino. Picked Superman, Annette, Lindis, also solid, but it means that Darcy completely fell through the draft until this second ban phase, when he's just been removed, alongside Varys and Kali.
I was about to mention the Darcy, like, what is happening right now? I think that they would have been better off, the Chinese Taipei team would have been better off choosing Darcy, particularly over Tulin, I've already mentioned my disdain for early Tulin picks. Also, they picked Tulin and they banned Kali, who Tulin can just kill. Seems strange to me. So, as we stand, good.
How do you feel about this sideline? Because like Chinese Taipei have won so far. They have the Superman into Omen matchup, which is decisively a good matchup for Chinese Taipei. And actually, China just drafted Zenial, which also should be countered by Omen. But the other sideline is going to be Elsu, and I kind of favor Elsu into both of them.
Right. Elsu is good in the 1v1 matchup because he can outrange them. But once we get into proper team fights, then, like you mentioned before, Superman can go ahead and scoop him up. So, this is kind of confusing to me because Fan has been usually piloting the Superman, but Fan usually plays Abyssal lane. This Chinese team has consistently favored going for melee heroes in both the side lanes. Obviously, that makes it a lot easier now that they have Lindis in their jungle, but even when they don't have a ranged jungler, they just tend to do that anyway. I think the Chinese draft is coming together reasonably well, but it really has to do with how they're able to deal with what looks to be Yuzon on the Omen.
I'm real curious that Omen's got a 30% win rate. That seems astonishingly low. That's gotta just be a artifact of who's played it, not the character, right?
Yeah, I think that has to be it, because we've seen Omen kind of struggle to... I think, okay, Omen has hardly ever been picked as a counter like we've seen here. Sometimes people just bust it out because it seems like a safe pick, but then the other team picks Roxy and, you know, the other team feels bad. So, yeah, I don't think it's been picked in the most opportune of circumstances or on the best teams here. I'm really actually excited to see Alice come out right now, because we haven't seen Alice for a while, and I think she's kind of being underutilized in this tournament.
This is like a good draft, though, for China. Wow, I just went full California on you. This isn't like a good draft. This is a good draft for China.
Embrace the inner California, TJ.
This is like a real good draft for China.
Dude, look at this draft from China.
Dude, check it out, man. That's actually a sick draft. You want to go hit the beach later, catch some waves?
I actually never go to the beach, but I do say dude a lot.
Dude, it's a sick opener, though. We talk a lot about China, of course, because they play King of Glory, which is a different game from Arena of Valor. Their drafts suffer slightly. They are playing at a deficit because many of the characters that they are playing here, they've had to somewhat relearn. King of Glory, the sister game to AOV, has slight differences, but that does not seem to have held back this Chinese team, which has consistently done pretty well.
Would you say King of Glory is the sister game or the big brother game?
Why not big sister game?
I don't know. What a Big Daddy game.
Big Daddy KOG waiting in the wings. This will be an exciting match and a good baseline for the group. We expect Chinese Taipei to take China apart. Not because China are bad, but because Chinese Taipei are the current reigning world champions after winning the AIC 2018. We'll see. It's an opportunity for China to quite quickly change our estimation of them as well. It's game number 1 between Chinese Taipei and China.
I have to say, this Chinese Taipei roster, or this their hero selection, it feels like a blast from like 2018. it's like Zephyrs, Tulin, Omen, Alice.
Hey, you know who won the 2018 World Cup?
Korea?
Yeah, not this team. You know who won the 2018 International Championship, though?
This team.
Mm-hmm. So Chinese Taipei should benefit from this draft, right?
Maybe. We'll see.
Mid lane, it's Benny. Oh, a good Alice stun. It's been a while since we've seen Benny on Alice, and I'm real happy to see it.
The nice thing about Alice is you can really get your teammates out of some binds just by having that extra movement speed, and I think it's really underestimated. Also, it's good for offense and defense when you're able to utilize that. Lots of zone control as well from the hizzy fit. One thing I'm liking, oh, there's a Wins is just diving on 3.
It's worked out so far. He doesn't manage to get away with the seagull, but he's remarkably unharmed. And here's the Bush party. Oh, that's a clever play. And the ambush works out. 2 kills over.
You know, the funny thing is that would not have worked out if Wins wasn't able to 1v3. And by the way, Wins is considered probably the weakest player. He just 1v3. This is how strong Chinese Taipei is. Their weakest player just decides to 1v3, and that is the basis of their strategy to get 2 kills. Like, I guess if you're just capable of doing that, then sure, go ahead, Chinese Taipei, just do what you want.
Today, China 67% of the time get the first tower. That's interesting, given the Chinese Taipei are 4-0. They don't need first tower to win. They've got it here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They'll give up a tower, get the gold lead, get the everything lead. Doesn't matter to them.
That combo with the Elsu snipe coming in off of Death from Above and Sunshine Stun is one of the sickest little bits of team play I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's easy to hit snipes when you know they're going to be standing exactly in one spot. And Neil, by the way, is an old school Zephyrus player. He's played Zephyrus for quite a while. I can still remember the dive, the triple kill from Neil into 3 members of, I forgot which team it was, but it was like one of the top teams in the world. And he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to get this triple kill. Thank you very much. It's seared into my memory. But not the opposing team. I don't know who that was. Just the fact that he did it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the kind of players these guys are. They've already got 3 kills and an Abyssal Dragon. This is a very, very good start. Let's talk about the inverse, though. How can China turn this round? What is their win condition?
Certainly not by just standing there in the mid and letting the wave come to them. They need to be more aggressive and be looking for invades on the other side of the map rather than to completely playing defense this entire time. They're not so far behind that they need to continuously just play behind the towers, because if they do that, then Chinese Taipei does stuff like this and they get more advantages.
I thought that wind cuff was going to land. Meng creating a good opportunity. This entire jungle, though, has been very hard for China to maintain control of. They keep their golems by and large, but a whole bunch of the smaller camps around the side keep getting stolen away. The fact that there's that much aggression into their jungle working out rests at the feet of their support. They need better roam watching the sides of the jungle. Meng on that Annette has just been predominantly hovering with his ally, hovering with his mid lane, and that's let a lot of this happen.
Right, and even though the side monsters don't seem like they're that significant, the fact that it's a double whammy, right? You're not getting them and they are, is a huge deal, especially if they're getting their own as well. It's basically like getting a siege minion, like an extra siege minion in the wave and then denying it from your opponent every single time.
Oh, Star, you doing all right? Every time I think he's stepping a little bit too far forward, I of course have to remember he's partnered with a good Alice. And that means that you have just 20 to 30% more mobility on command. That's how Star got all the way up to this top lane so quickly. Now ends in trouble. Double dive. Sunshine stun. Yuzon just focusing the tower. He's got it with a death's embrace. That's a kill over. Chunyang tries to answer back, and I think he's got wins first blood for China, but it's too little too late at this rate.
Well, could be really good if China can make something happen here.
Half HP on the tower, nothing more. The rest of the team just needs to run away.
Oh.
Hurricane wall up top. Yuzon almost pinned back underneath the tower itself, but he's safe.
I love bloodthirsty supports. Meng right there, he had one dream, and that was to kill Omen. And the joke being that Meng's name means one dream in Chinese. Anyway,
nice.
Sorry.
I liked the joke and the fact that you explained.
Kind of had to explain it because otherwise I mean, even Chinese viewers wouldn't really get it because we're like, what? They left out the part. Okay, so Meng means stream, but they left out the 1 in the stream, so I don't know. It ruins everything.
You're saying your joke was a lie, Daniel.
His actual name in KOG it says 1 dream, but Meng just means dream. Maybe he just. Let's talk about dreams, I guess. What's your
All
dream?
right. What's your dream?
My dream is for this to be the best AWC ever.
So far, we're on track. This game, though,
nice.
Not one of those best AWC ever moments if you're a Chinese fan. They're in big trouble so far.
They're still holding on this mid tower. If they can do that and deny map control to Chinese Taipei and start to play a little more aggressively, then they can start to make something happen. But Chinese Taipei keeps finding end.
Yeah, Death's Embrace through. He's gone. Yet another kill given up by the top laner.
Chinese Taipei are just showing that they are way better at the rotations because they get the kill up top and they give up nothing else on the other side of the map. That just goes to show how superior they are in this. Because usually, if teams are rotating evenly, then things go both ways.
Good snipe! Star into the backlines. Very nicely done. And Fan tries to find the flank. He'll get wins in trade, but that might not be enough because the snipes are still hammering down this mid lane. Star landing hit after hit and looking for the tower itself.
It feels like Fan is the only player on the side of China who's holding his own right here and getting kills in return. Everyone else is just wilting under the pressure of Chinese Taipei.
I want to mention that... Oh, I'll hold that thought. Mid lane. Tower gone. Dive in. Death from above from Neil. It's another kill and they're out. The Angelic Splendor that comes out is too little too late. And now the top tower itself is under threat.
I think the purpose of the Angelic Splendor was to save Xenial and not anyone else. It was very bizarre.
Was it just Ends trying to get out of lane?
It was weird because he was like half health when that happened and no one else was actually low. Perhaps it wasn't fine. Maybe I didn't notice that, but yeah, it hasn't been a good game for N regardless. Neil, though, has had an amazing game. He's just everywhere at once.
Yeah. This is how you play Zephyrs, if you were wondering.
Kill everyone.
Well, it's a lot of it is his very calculated aggression. A lot of Zephyr's eye try and go 1v3, 1v5 on these dives. But Neil, during the early game, isn't going to do that. He's going to find the 1v1s he knows he can win, spend his full kit, get the kill, and get out. And he always has mobility to do so.
The thing is, sometimes he does go 1v3, but it's in a specific situation where he catches the opponent off guard. It's really hard to deal with a Zephyrus that jumps on you from a bush and you have no idea it's coming. Because you're knocked up, you're taking a lot of damage. And even if you are fighting 3v1, he's already gotten like a kill and a half by the time you can even respond.
Darkslayer picked up. Very good for Chinese Taipei. We said at the head of this game. Oh. We said it. Oh ho! Let me finish a sentence, Star. We said at the head of this game. We expected this to be a pretty dominant win for Chinese Taipei. This is the delivery of that. Does it make you feel better than that uncertainty we did have going in?
Yeah, I think Chinese Taipei, you saw in their interviews earlier that they weren't totally satisfied with how they took care of business against the weaker teams, even though it was a 4-0. They knew they had to be better today, and they certainly are showing that.
There's the pressure from Neil onto Fan. Chen Yang will have the answer, but he'll be backing up him and Wins playing defense.
I want to talk about some of Neil's movements and how he's able to get onto certain players, right? Oh, never mind. Wins is going to die. Oh, my
Is
goodness.
he? Angelic Splendor, Chen Yang with the dive, using that bush mobility, but he doesn't want to face check the bush.
If Benny hadn't used heal there, then Fan would have killed Wind with that laser.
It's real good team play. Yet again, a little bit of a questionable Angelic Splendor for me. And it may cost them more. As you can see, that high ground in the top lane is in trouble right now. That's used on just diving it. He's going to focus the high ground. He could out-lifesteal the tower, but he doesn't want to do it 1v2. End and Fan could absolutely kill him. He's in trouble if he stays there 1v2, but his team is pushing mid during that time, so if the resources are dedicated to killing him, then they'll get a tower either way.
Yeah, just by virtue of pulling Fan toward that top lane, it allows Chinese Taipei to get more Dawn on this mid lane, and now we can take the tower.
Tower gone. Nicely done. Chinese Taipei with a high ground tower gone will want to retreat, reset their HPs. They're in control of this game. It is their match to lose.
Neil picks up Hercules Madness. That gives him a panic shield when he gets low in health, and also increases his lifesteal by, I believe, 30%, which is a huge deal when you're trying to stay alive and you have low health like Zephys does. It's a really good compliment to his kit.
How did Yuzon walk out of that 1v2 tower dive, by the way? Because he just left. He just like walked away.
Not really, because he was walking away, and right when Fan turned to push him back, he flickered at the exact right moment. So that was a nice, good bit of timing there. Also, Untouchable reduces the opposing damage by 50% at this point because it's level 6. And that's a good ability, TJ. If you can reduce all the damage to you by 50%, you're not going to take a whole lot of damage.
I must have missed that flicker. I was too distracted by the excellent teamwork, because even if Yuzon had gotten caught out in the top lane, the resources needed to take that fight would have 100% given Chinese Taipei the mid tower.
Yep.
Here's the Dark Slayer. China, yet again, having to face it. We've seen Chinese Taipei use these Dark Slayers as a slow and steady bludgeon with which they win games. They're not going to go for any risky high ground fights without the Drake in their lane, because why would you when you're in complete control?
By the way, take a look at how that Hissy Fit single-handedly allowed for Chinese Taipei to take the Dark Slayer. They didn't even have to turn around. The players taking the Dark Slayer didn't even have to turn around to face them because they were walking through quicksand, aka the Hissy Fit.
There's no way you can get close if an Alice is zoning you back. And if you do get close, if you do get past all the zone, Benny can just drop a friendship, shield and speed the entire team, and they reposition. Uh-oh. Can he reposition from this? Pull back in? Pi can't kill him, and now he's just staying here. Surely that's too far. Hurricane Wall Power Surge. They can't find the kill, and the Hissy fits out. Neil in to save the day. Zediel Angelic Splendor forced out. Chinese Taipei still on the back foot, though, and Neil can't save his support from Fan, who will get a kill and successfully bait out the death from above as well.
A little bit too confident from Chinese Taipei there, but you have to give credit to Fan. What an amazing job he's been pulling up, just on point with every single one of his skills. And those skills are hard to land because, fun fact, TJ, you have to aim him with the left joystick. It's hard to do.
There is an equivalent character to Superman in Honor of Kings, the home game for this Chinese team, that plays very, very similarly. So you can see their mechanical skill on display. Fan's Superman has been a mainstay of China's victories so far.
He's been doing an absolutely beautiful job on him. I'm not sure if Chinese Taipei can really take this tower, but with Benny coming back up and zooming along to this bottom lane, maybe they can make it happen.
They've got the Drake, so counting on that to make the difference, but they're playing it very, very passive. I suppose because there's a minute on the next Dark Slayer. Why take any risks? Just use this as zone. And Neil brings wave to mid. That high ground's in trouble, actually. Yuzon escorts super minions into the core. In the meantime, Neil needs to play this safe at about half HP. As I say, they're playing a passive. It was a plot. All the elements of their long-term gambit come active at the same time. They get half HP on 2 high ground towers, and Yuzon just walks up to the core and ends game 1.
He's like, don't worry, guys, I got this. Just goes in the back door and takes it down. You can see Chinese Taipei not too happy. They're like, that should have been easier, but, you know, you take it how you can.
What? So... I was watching him walk those minions into the core. I was real impressed by how far he was getting with the super minion waves, but I didn't think for a moment that they would just let him walk onto the court. And no normal player, I will contest, would plan for that to happen. But Yuzon's like, I can get away with this.
But we saw Omen is capable of taking many tower shots, so if anything gets a little bit dicey, even if there's one person guarding, he can take the core if they're close enough. But the funny thing about that was, I love how Yuzon just lulled them to sleep. He did not leave that top lane. He just kept pushing the lanes in one by one by one by one by one by one by one, and they kept clearing it and clearing it and clearing it, and then all of a sudden they just have to forget one time and you lose the game. And that's what Yuzon was counting on, because they always got to send one back. Sometimes you screw up, you send two back, you send three back, and if they send multiple players back, you take the towers. And Yuzon's like, well, if you send no one back, I will just win the game. That was just humorous. It was comedy at its finest, but not so funny if you're Team China.
No, if you're Team China, that's a little embarrassing. Yuzon does what he does best. It's a game number 1 win in his bag, although to be fair, it probably would have gone their way either way. Neil's my MVP out of it, those stars, consistent snipe lands, and Benny's good support just remind you exactly how good this Chinese Taipei team is.
Star going for a more auto attack focused build, still was able to land those snipes, so good for him. You know, I gotta reiterate my thoughts on these Zephyrus builds. Neil did a great job, but why go for defense into offense, offense, offense? Usually you want to snowball the game by going offense and then defense, but I don't know. Maybe I should let it go.
One of the things I've seen from this Chinese Taipei team that I'm so impressed by is how convincing that win was. Yeah, alright. He doesn't deserve that MVP, but also we all know why he got that MVP.
This is a recency bias. Come on. He killed the core so he gets the MVP. What is that?
Come on.
Okay.
But this just looks so steady and convincing. Like, we've seen stomps at this AWC as some of the top-seeded teams beat some of the lower-seeded teams. China's not bad. We put them in our estimates around the middle of this group. The fact that Chinese Taipei just demolished them that clinically is a really, really impressive sign for them. Perhaps another peek at the AWC champions. At the very least, they're looking to repeat their world champion title. Don't go far. We'll be back with game number 2 after a quick break. What? Oh.
What? Oh.
Wow. We're back with the AWC 2019 China facing Chinese Taipei. Game number 1 was a pretty dominant performance for Chinese Taipei as the world champions put their stamp on the group stage. Now we're into game number 2, and it's China's chance to strike back.
And they decided to do the striking back by picking Darcy, which is a good way to do it.
Yeah, solid start. The Darcy in their corner, countered maybe by Nakrov Sephora against him. We've seen Nakrov as kind of the most consistent anti-Darcy draft. Are you still with that?
Yeah, the ability to self-cleanse the Dimensional Portal just by using Nakros's ultimate is very powerful. And the fact that you dive in, you perhaps force the Dimensional Portal out, you use it, use your Onal to get out of it, and then Darcy feels bad because now he doesn't have a Dimensional Portal, and your team can run free and not be chained down by the devices of other dimensions.
That sounds weirdly metal. The bans, of course, were Alsu, Annette, Varus, now Kali, Baldum, Chulin, Hayate against. So, into this second pick phase, I'm real interested in where China are going to go with their mage. They've lost a lot of the obvious drafts. Are we going to see something wild? Would you... Alright, hold up. Wild thought. Would you go Alistair?
No one, I mean... Only
Counters Nakrov,
has...
counters Raz, does alright into Sephora, backs up the Darcy well.
The thing is, you kind of need more than one person to CC, or more than one person that applies the CC in order to pick Alistair. Because if he's the only one doing it, then he's just going to get knocked up, or they're just going to ignore him or something like that, right? It's still like he basically just nullifies the other person on the team, but he's not moving either. Because basically he just turned to a 4v4. And also it makes it easier to just dive him. Like if he's by himself and tries to catch someone off guard, which typically happens with him, and the rest of the team just jumps in and kills him. There has to be a specific team on your side and a specific team comp for the opposing side to pick Alistair, and I don't think that China has that yet, or has it right now.
Oh, I always like Alistair. Who was it that promised to play Grak during that promo reel we ran?
It was a person in Korea, I think.
Oh, rough. Because I'm looking for a CC for him, and though they don't have a support yet, they don't seem to be considering a Grak. Baldum's been banned out. Teamy's still on the cards for China. They're pulling out a Superman, which would maybe go to the support role, but would definitely open the question, what's in your mid lane? And now definitely it does, as the Arduin is hovered as their final draft. There's nothing else that can go to jungle from this draft, so it isn't Darcy mid.
Wait, I want to see them lock it in first, because they might switch to the last moment. This is very weird if they lock it in.
This is puzzling. Boom.
Wow. Wow. What? Okay. So, first of all, who's their support? Is it look at Neil just like, what? He's just laughing. He's like, what are we playing against right now? I don't think Richter's a good idea. I think I'd rather go with Lubu. Lubu he just survives through everything against his team.
Yeah, Lubu is very much Richter. Okay. You know, Richter to a lesser extent, but him and Lubu are very much just Chinese Taipei's. Wait, what? Okay.
I guess what they're saying is, I guess they just want it so that Darcy will never see the light of day. They're like, we will dive you until you're dead. Wait, what? Did their coach just like grimace?
He just rolled his eyes.
He's like,
all right.
So Darcy's never gonna live. Darcy is just dead. This is the strategy from Chinese Taipei. Like everyone's diving Darcy, and he's never gonna live.
But what is China doing? Is that Superman
Okay, I don't
mid?
even know
Omen support?
Who is their mid player normally?
I have my notes. Give me a sec. China
So,
in mid
first of
run
all-
Pi, so that is Superman mid. Just wanted to
That would
confirm.
Yeah, that makes the most sense just because Superman can clear the way without much issue. Did they have their support on Arduin?
Yeah.
So support Arduin. Fan actually moves from Superman to Yina, which makes sense because Yina likes to be in the Abyssal lane. And then they have Omen in the Darkstar lane, which is completely normal as well. But this is bizarre, and you see Neil like, what is happening? He's just smiling, he's just laughing, like, with this game.
This feels like a KOG. I love the contrast, by the way, because this Chinese side is deadly serious about their draft. Are they serious? Lean over and check.
Star's like, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him so good.
So, this feels like what we were talking about earlier. There are characters that are very viable in the Chinese edition of this game, the Chinese sister game, that are not in the West. Sometimes that affects the draft. Till now, China have stayed very standard to the Arena of Valor meta. This may be the first time they pull out something truly wild to us.
Maybe their phones are broken. They couldn't scroll down past the warriors and tanks.
Don't spread those rumors. People will believe them.
So this is interesting. I feel like Pi should have already cleared this mid lane instead of just messing around.
I'm just still trying to work out what the...
Oh, okay.
We're fine.
Sorry.
We're good. It's good. I'm still trying to work out what the game plan is. We may find out. Yuzon may find out. So, they have a lot of CC. I guess that's the plan for China. Protect Chen Yang with infinite stuns.
We remember yesterday when Vietnam messed around a lot and then Malaysia won with like all melee heroes in the Darcy. That's kind of what they're going for, except it took the entire opposing Vietnam team to mess around, and this Chinese Taipei team is the opposite of messing around.
Good stun up. Benny vulnerable, spends the water wall. He'll be fine. Even gets Mang with the stun.
Pi is just... apparently everyone in China, like, the prerequisite to playing KOG is get good Superman, or his equivalent. Because Pi is going nuts right now, too.
Yeah,
portal?
We keep... Oh, that portal. Will tick. Betty's gone. No! The flicker! Past the Superman! Now Neil's here for vengeance. He'll go in on Meg and get him very low. He tags out and Star tags in. Kill confirmed. Chinese Taipei. The second I think they've made a mistake, their team play and their individual skill flourish.
Beautiful timing on the flicker
It's not
as well.
done.
Pi!
Yuzon in, Pi knocked low. Neil opts not to chase. Instead, they steal away jungle.
I think they can still steal away this jungle, too. Because Chen Yang's low. Pi has to go back. Chen Yang!
In big trouble. Judgment's blade. There's the portal. Chen Yang with the walk. He's back out. Has Neil gone too far? No, he has not. One kill over. He'll accept that trade. And dives in, but can't stop the jungle from being stolen away.
Who got the jungle? I don't see a blue in anyone.
In this game, nobody wins.
I'm trying to look at their feet. Oh, Benny, okay. How did Benny get it?
He was part of the invade party.
Yeah, Neil... I agree with his choice to go in and make sure he confirms the kill onto Chen Yang. There's a slight chance he gets out as well, but I think it was more likely that he dies and gets no kill if he tries to run than if he just gets the kill and trades.
Yeah.
So I support it.
Very good risk analysis. Wins. Uh-oh. Ghost Walk. He'll be all right. I always forget how much damage the Ghost Walk does.
Well, they buffed it. they basically tripled its damage a long time ago, before Marsha was really, really bad.
Star and Neil Like, I love the mobility that this Thailand team plays with, especially in this composition. They're just constantly moving around the map so fast, gaining so much control.
Which is really hard to deal with if you are in China, because they don't have nearly the mobility since they're all on melee heroes. Oh, Star.
Portal. He's back in, now in trouble. Fan tries to get the flank, but can't finish the kill and can't turn quick enough to bring anything to bear onto Neil, who doubles down. Judgment Blade, almost with the kill. There's the dash forward, and a confirm. Meg, vulnerable as well. Benny's there to rein in some damage, but they won't go for the kill. Again, Chinese Taipei, all right, taking risks, but they know how effective stealing jungle is. Nice flicker, Yuzon.
Yeah, doing a really good job. Actually, Pops is Hunter's mark.
Mark of the Hunter. And with the retaliate, barely gets out underneath the tower, and in the meantime, Pie's chased down. And you're not safe here. Benny, with the water wall, will not stun him, but he does stop him from recalling. Neil, in the meantime, is racing around this jungle. There are no valid defenders for this tower. Chinese Taipei will get their first of the game at the 5-minute mark.
I feel like they're getting their percentage up on the first tower. They're playing a little more seriously this time, really bringing it to Chinese Taipei. And I don't know really bringing it to China. And I don't really know what China is able to do to come back from this one.
This looks really, really good from Chinese Taipei. I said that so many times last game.
You know what they're doing? That is completely different from the Vietnam team that faces this type of competition. They're only fighting when they need to. They're only fighting when they have an opportunity to go in. They're not fighting haphazardly, and they're not giving the opportunity or not giving the opponent any chances.
And sometimes you see favored teams playing matches, and I see them dominating but playing it slow and steady. This is just such a reasonable approach to the game. They'll take risks, but only when it's worth it. Chen Yang in trouble here. Does get out. Pai and Meng are in the area, and they'll try and turn here. Good stun-ups from the Ardu and Rend. Neil, in the meantime, though, just bails away with all their jungle.
Yeah, that's all I really needed. I mean, they would like to get kills, but if they can just take all their jungle, that's fine, too.
They're always achieving something on the map, and that's the trademark of a very good Arena Valor team.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, and that's how you know that they know what their priorities are, right? Because if you go too deep and you let them kill you, then you're all of a sudden giving back any advantage that you had. And they said, you know what? If we can't get a kill, we can't get a kill. But if we can, then we'll do it like now.
Meng calls in. It's too far. Yuzon with the Mark of the Hunter will need to bail because he's knocked low on HP. Then he's got the water wall, though, and that's the stun necessary. He even spends Tides of Life aggressively, which forces him to burn his flicker, but that's all right.
I mean, End did use his Death's Embrace as well there, so a little bit of a bait from Benny. And they're just kind of playing with him at this moment. Not intentionally, but it just feels bad if you're from China.
It's so hard to watch China kind of try and work out what their priorities even are here. You can see Chinese Taipei just running them around the map.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like they've had this strategy work against other teams before in the past when they just run on them with melee heroes and the other team doesn't know how to respond. But you're not going to do that against this Chinese Taipei team.
Abyssal? I think that was stolen away. I need the timer. Yeah, it is. Fan rips that out of the field there. Very nicely done by China. That's the kind of thing they need to be able to start doing more consistently. You're not going to get these favored team fights because Chinese Taipei just won't fight you.
Oh, Fan kills wins, though.
Yeah, good start. Meng in the mid. Open if Pai can circle round. He can, but it's a sacrifice play, and they don't convert.
So many times. Like, Neil's just playing this so immaculately. He gets in, gets the kill, gets up before there's any sort of response. That is a sign of an expert in the craft.
We said during day 2 that Fan needs to be put on carry characters more often because he's real good. Do you hold to that assessment?
Yeah, and he's doing an excellent job with that use on. Hello. Well, he forced the dimensional portal out. Although
Yeah,
Nathan's stuck in a...
Death's Embrace. Yuzon's in trouble. They should get this kill. Finally, Yuzon goes down. Pi shoving Benny back as well. Fans in the area. Star under focus. Will fall. Nice fight from China. They've got 2 kills already. And Benny and Wins are both very low, chained underneath the tower by a constant barrage of stuns.
There seems to be a common theme that when Fan joins the fight, they do well, but Neil...
Oh, the dive! Neil into the backlines. It's another victory back to Chinese Taipei as he cleans up 2 kills of his own. China need to retreat.
Oh my goodness. So we're starting to see the difference makers for these sides. Neil is an absolute beast, but so too is Fan on the side of China. They are certainly carrying their team for them. And I just want to advise them not to fight without those 2 in their vicinity.
And stunned with Mang, both of them going in. Death's Embrace does land. Tides of Life will come through. Neil on the chase, though, gets Pi well underneath the tower and turns back for more. Neil, you monster, you've got to stop, but he can't be stopped. A triple kill in the fight. That's the tower as well, and Neil's still going, slaughtering the jungle.
Neil is an absolute beast at the moment. He knows all the limitations of Necroth, knows exactly what he can get away with. And he's such a nice guy, he gives the blue buff to Benny as well. What a nice guy at killing.
What do you do?
Good night.
Neil is so much better than every other player in this game right now. This is mechanical skill, just focusing on the tower. He's finally shut down, but that's an acceptable sacrifice. They get a high ground for it, provided the rest of Chinese Taipei gets away. That's, oh, careful. I thought the Death's Embrace was going to land. Now it does. Benny chained in. Damage will come from Pi. This is a lot of damage on Benny. The Tides of Life kept him safe, though, and they hold strong on the front lines. Chinese Taipei cannot be stopped.
Chinese Taipei, they get in, they get the tower, they lose Neil, but that's okay because they're able to hold off China from any revenge coming onto them. Now they have a pretty nice gold lead along with some very nice map pressure as well. Good night mid ground, high ground tower. And now they have the Super Minions pushing down the lane from now on.
If you have any friends who play Nacroth, call them right now and tell them that the best Nacroth you've ever seen is currently dominating a game at the World Cup.
I just love how every single move from him is like just frame perfect, right? He goes in, he
doesn't make mistakes.
The thing is, I love how he knows exactly how long the enhanced auto attack after second ability, I think it's Dread Judge is, and he's just able to catch everyone in it.
1v3, portal ticked. He will come back, but no, he dances back, cleansing with his ultimate. There will be no portal trigger because of those mechanics. Now they get another Sage buff, scare back the entire Chinese side, and push for the tower. Chen Yang, this is the wrong neighborhood. He was so far away from everyone, and suddenly dead as 4 players swarm his position. Pi wants the trade. They've got Fan on the flank. Can China turn this? No, Fan's red. Now the dive. He might be dead. He's got the hold on his charge, but it does almost no damage, and China have to retreat behind their high ground.
So China is extremely tanky. You can see it right there. It's hard for Chinese Taipei to kill any single member other than the Darcy. The problem is Chen Yang needs to really step it up and not die. Make sure he stays behind his team because he is the sole factor in being able to take out multiple heroes.
Knock up. Neil waving round. Man, you know what this reminds me of? I'm going to say it.
I don't know.
Go for ESL Cup number 3, 2 years ago. Vex shows up. First time I see him do his business on Nacroth. But that was the second month the game was released. Uh-oh. Neil?
No,
cleanses it. He's fine. End will be in trouble. Now this high ground tower's gone. Fan to hold. Good flicker forward. That's a good hold on the front line, but there's no follow-up. China have lost their team unity in the face of this, and this should be a push through to the core. Neil round the side. He's got the wave. All the Chinese players are falling in the front lines. Pi's been stunned up, and the core is being focused. Yuzon, never one to be distracted. That will be be game number 2 in 13 minutes. Chinese Taipei sweep aside the series.
After playing cool, calm, measured on day 1 of the AWC, day 2, Chinese Taipei comes out and Neil styles all over China. And that was a sight to behold, a beauty to watch.
I had to avert my eyes.
Come on, it was so nice. Neil just laughing it up.
That was genuinely terrifying to witness. Wow. If Neil doesn't get the MVP, I am going to go down to Da Nang, Vietnam, and find somebody to have some very stern words with. I legally can't say more.
Yeah, he better win the MVP, but he's not gonna have the MVP, or not gonna have the highest scored game, I don't think, because he died like 2 times. Stupid score system.
Handouts across the board during day 1. Very passive
I never
play.
did get it. He did get it. There you go. 10 kills will do
you
that
got
for you.
10 kills, my boy. Very passive play from Chinese Taipei main team. They were not making any mistakes. They weren't taking any risks either, though, and that weighed them down here in day number 2 of their group. It feels like they've kind of doubled down. Sure, they're not making any mistakes. Sure, they're not dropping any games, but they're here to take risks because they're here to play. They are the reigning world champions, and this team's looking to get a second title under their names.
By the way, how smart is Chinese Taipei? I mean, think about the depth, right? We were thinking just pick Lubu, right? You'll have a nice front line. That we were thinking, okay, there's a lot of pressure coming in from this heavy melee comp. You don't really want to have them go for invades. You don't want to have them have this like massive front line. You need someone to stand in the front lines to be able to hold them off. They said, no. Why do we care about that? The real threat is the Darcy. The only way the opposing side wins the game is if Darcy pops off. So we need to have multiple ways to get to the Darcy, and they go for the Richter, and it works out splendidly.
There he is. I don't need to upset anyone. 10, 2, and 3 in his KDA, and I believe that says more. You can note that his damage is quite low. That's actually a real good side if you're playing Nacroth, because you want the Nacroth to just be closing kills. You rely on the other members of your team to do a lot of the damage itself. You never want to be doing poke and then leaving as a Nacroth. You want to be finishing kills. When you do hit someone, they die real fast.
Yeah, if you have like 40% damage as a Nacroth, you're probably playing like Brond or something.
You're in jail if you have 40% damage as a Nacroth.
I mean, yeah, you've broken the game. No, because it's impossible, right? If you stand there and fight, you're going to die.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you kill people, you're not going to get much damage.
We got to go. We're running out of highlight reel because of how quick that game was. It was game number 2. Chinese Taipei step up to the plate. We'll go to a quick break. During that break, we are going to restart the Facebook feed. If you're watching on Facebook, you need to reset your browser. Don't worry about it if you're watching in-game. It won't matter to you. We'll be back, and when we return, when we return, it will be, hold the phone, Indonesia taking on Korea. I had to check my notes, and that match should be very close.
Dòng máu trên bên chúng ta cứ soi lên từng nhịp, càng nhiều